Welcome back, everybody. Mornings with Matt and Bob. We're powered by Chewy, of course. And as promised, and we've been promising it for a bit, you should know Moon Tower Comedy Festival starts today. That's right. We're very lucky in this town to have Moon Tower here. Lasts 10 days now. And we promised you an interview with Veer. Veer Das is actually on the phone. You can't get tickets to his show. He's already sold out, but he's still taking the time to talk to us. Good morning, Veer. How are you today?
Good to see you guys. Looking forward to getting it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear us okay? You're coming in a little garbled, but if so, we'll work with it because I just want to make sure you can hear us. We're good?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. No, we'll work around it. It's fine. I'm sorry to hit you with a question that I know has got to be getting boring for you at this point because it's what everybody is asking you. But to me, I think it's a great way of telling your story. You're not new, but you're newer to what I want to call a broader American audience, right? You've had an audience here for quite some time. And for some people who are not familiar with you yet, you're a star. You're a legit international star. Movie star. People want your autograph. The ladies love you. But you're a little bit newer stand up to our shores. But already you've had a fan base here for a very long time. And
well, yeah. So could you talk to my wife, please, and just repeat all of these things that you just said?
I will do. Fantastic. I will absolutely do. Hey, look, I love you. I think you're a great stand-up comic. But one of the things that's really got me interested in your story is because it's coming up a lot in American comedy. In particular, let's say sometimes it's a certain type of comic that says, "Hey, there's so much censorship. There's nothing. We can't say anything anymore.
Everybody's filming us."
Yes.
And I think that there are sometimes legitimate critiques there, but I've noticed what a lot of it is that a lot of American stand-ups are men, and I'm a man, and I have an ego, and I don't like when someone disagrees with me because it's my ego, and I know it's bothersome to have someone disagree with me or criticize me. But you were at the Kennedy Center, which is first and foremost. I'm sorry. I know I should be asking you more questions than just talking, but I want to set this up a little bit for my audience who may not be familiar. Yeah. The Kennedy Center is part of the Lincoln Center for Arts in New York, and it is. I mean, it's a Valhalla. It is one of the pinnacles of places that you can perform as a comedian, and you're doing a sold out show there. And at the end of the show, it's almost like a spoken word. I want to call it. It's not part of your regular stand up. You read out a piece, so I'm not read, but from your mind. You called it Two Indias, correct?
Is it a poem?
Yes.
It's been called a poem, hasn't it?
I see it as a work of thought, I want to call it. But can you tell us what Two Indias was to you and kind of explain it to our audience what that piece was?
You mean apart from an anxiety setting? But no, it is. I was at the Kennedy Center and I ended up writing sort of like a 6-minute spoken word piece about the greatness of my country and also some of the darker parts of my country, and sort of the narrative being that it's very easy for mainstream media or the internet to always remind us about the darkness, but we have to remember the light and celebrate what's great about ourselves as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the intention of the piece.
And I think it was wonderful because what you were saying is there's nuance to everything out there. Don't decide the narrative of something because of what you read, because every one of us, every human is complicated. Every joke is complicated. It's nuance, and there's a setting, and you should know those things. And it was a very nice piece. What happened after? What happened? You presented that to your audience, and I will say that was a mainly Asian American, Indian American audience, because that's the audience that knew you first because of the movies that you have made, right? And so it was, but a lot of that audience were born here in the U.S.
Guys, I just lost you. Hello?
Yeah. Do you want to try to reconnect real quick, Veer? You want to try to call right back in?
Oh, good.
You want to try to call back in and get a reconnection there, Veer?
I think he dropped. So let's drop him real quick.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
That's okay. Hopefully he'll call right back in, and he might get a better connection because that sounded garbled anyway.
What is with these cell phone places and
You know what he's doing, though? I'll be honest with you, and what's happening to him? He's having a call with an intermediary because he's big time.
And then
he has handlers.
it.
And so the handlers do this thing where they make you call into the handler's box, and then the handler connects you so they can listen in. And they can also cut you off if you start answering stuff that they don't want you to answer. I'm going to tell you that.
And so it degrades the signal. Here it is. He's ringing.
So Veer's having to deal with that. Let's answer again and see how he does. Okay. We're trying to reconnect. And Veer, we got you now?
Hello, Veer. You there?
I'm back. Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
Yes.
so much better even. So much better. Hopefully we can. And you should know that our show is what we call here in America a cluster F. It is always a mess, so our audience loves this even more. They expect things to go wrong, so it's perfect.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Where we were is I was asking you to explain the piece to Indians, and I was saying that, you have an audience here. A lot of them are the younger children of immigrants, so they don't even have a full understanding of India, where the understanding of India they're getting is from their parents, and so even then it's coming through a filter. And well, before we get into what's happened, so what is it like performing for that audience that is seeing you and wanting a piece of their history, but wanting it not filtered through their parents?
I mean, it's a great feeling, right, to have 3,000 people come home with you. Where you're the guy from India and they showed up at the Kennedy Center, and for some of them they haven't been home in 10 years or 5 years, or they only go home once a year for 2 weeks because. I mean, you need to give people more vacations than that.
Well, hey, we're working on it. If there's anything you can do, Veer, to help us out, let us know.
I'm down.
This is what I was going to say, where I was trying to lead him. The prime minister of his own country went after him.
Wants to arrest him, doesn't?
Wants him to be arrested and wants him to go to jail.
Right.
For making
for insulting,
actually,
for
he
quote,
didn't make
insulting
jokes.
the country.
For quote, insulting the country. And all he was saying is that we have these two Indias. We have one, which is a fantastic India that people need to know more about, but we have our ugly warts. I think it's the same thing that we do on our show every day, where I've said before, I love America. I wish...
We're not perfect.
We have children being shot in schools. I think it's a disgusting thing about our country that children are being murdered. Children are scared when they go to their schools. Now, he was on foreign soil, and the prime minister of his country said, oh, because you did that, you've broken the law and you should go to jail. Which is very different than what you get with a comic who's just like, well, you made this joke and now people on Twitter want to pile on.
Right.
It's a very different idea of censorship. We want to take away your freedom. And this isn't like groups saying this. The head of his country.
Yeah. So can he go back?
But it's not.
Well, that's what I wanted to find out is what he's dealing with.
Does he have family that's in?
Well, that's the thing.
Sometimes
that's
in a
the
country,
thing. Maybe we'll never know now because of connections.
If they can't get you, they'll.
I mean, we have freedom of speech here, but I mean, what happens when somebody?
Do we say the F-bomb right now? We'll see. How
well, we don't. But
see,
we can't be arrested for it. Can we?
Be heavily fined and lose your job.
You can do that, but nobody will ever arrest anybody here. But the other thing is that if you do say something that is, I don't know, untoward toward anything, then you have the court of, I guess, public opinion, and you can get doxxed. Jobs won't hire you. I mean, what's the difference between? I mean, obviously, I know the difference between that and jail, but there's still punishments.
And he comes from a country that is different, where they don't have the same ideas of freedom of speech. And I think it's kind of brave. If you're a dude, okay, look, Veer is the kind of guy, I want to try to explain. He's like Seth Rogen, if you will. Like, he's a hot commodity in India.
Yeah.
He's a movie star.
Right.
Not like, oh, he's a guy from movies. He's a legit movie star and a stand-up comic. You roll the dice when you go to and you want it, and you're like, hey, look, the thing is that we have to move past what our grandparents are saying. Oh, here's what you should do, because what they got so upset about is he brought up the fact, and it's in the news. He said, there are two Indias, and everybody should watch it. It's interesting. He says, by day we put women on pedestals. We talk about how wonderful they are. They're mothers. They bring forth life. But at night we gang rape them. And there were leaders back home who said, how dare you go and say that we rape women? But the fact is, it's a true thing that's happening. And it's a disgusting thing that's happening. And he's saying, look, you don't fix problems by ignoring them.
Right.
You don't in life. I know this is pretty heavy for an interview with a stand-up comic. Yeah. I want to also let you know he's super hilarious. But here's where we're protected right now. Moon Tower's happening. His show's sold out. They don't give an F how many tickets you buy. You can't get one. He's been sold out for weeks. So I thought it would be interesting to get into this part of it. But that to me is real balls.
Yeah.
To say, I'm going to put all of that. Like, he's not known in Hollywood like he is in Bollywood. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So he's literally coming and saying, I'm going to throw the dice and gamble my smooth-ass, posh life for doing what's right.
Right.
Does everybody have that set on them?
No. And the bigger you get, I mean, there's a lot of stars. The bigger they get, the less controversial they want to be.
We come up with it a lot, and we're not even bringing down those kind of dollars.
No.
But there are almost on the weekly, we are presented with something where we have to figure out, is this something we're going to talk about or not? Most of the time, I will tell you, we err on the side of getting in trouble. Right. I would rather go upstairs and say, oh, I'm sorry, our bad.
Right. It's in the news.
Than to lie to our listeners who I think they would know that we're BSing to them, right?
No, it's a brave thing that he did. But now, like, I'm just curious. Like, he's not a U.S. citizen, is he?
No.
So he's got to go back.
Well, that's what I want to ask him. Is that, I mean,
like,
there's 7 charges that are standing
they'll be
against
waiting
him
at the
right now.
airport.
There are 7, and I kept looking. I kept trying to find out, is there any resolution on this? And there doesn't appear to be. And I'm like, does he go home? Is he living like in London now? Like, where do you go when your country is after you because of your stand-up show?
I don't know.
We may never know the answer to that because
of the effing
bad phone line.
I'm so pissed about that connection.
I know it's happened to us before, many times before in the past.
Because and he started talking about, because I was wondering, like, have your lawyers even told you don't talk about this at all? Because any of this recorded stuff can be used against you. I am not familiar with the Indian court system. I'm sure it has to come out of some kind of the English court system, right? Because
some kind of tribunal. They were
they were territory for so long. But because to me it's ballsy to do that. But also, it made me instantly respect him and made me more interested to hear his stand-up. And his stand-up is really, really good. Mm-hmm. Don't think, and I would say go check it out online. Don't think, oh, he's an Indian comic, he's just talking about stuff. The one great thing about comedy is good comedy is just about the universal human condition. You won't get some of the references, I'll tell you that right now, the same way you don't when you listen to an English comic or an Australian comic or whatever that's not in front of an American audience. You won't get some of the references. He's very funny. Really funny. And man, I'm a little pissed that didn't work out.
How quick did he sell out? Like almost instantly?
He sold out very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. And like I said, here's the thing, that he has sort of this underground base audience that already exists, right?
Right.
He's very well known, and then he's making that crossover. I think about someone like Jim Jeffries. Mm-hmm. Jim Jeffries is huge now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how fast do you think he would sell out? But the first time I saw Jim Jeffries, his HBO special aired on like a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, he performed at the Old Emos here. Mm-hmm. 3 people in the audience. Jim Jeffries was selling out like Wembley Stadium in England. Like, that's how big of a comic he was. Yeah. He was selling out stadiums. Yeah. He comes to America for his first ever tour, but he wasn't really known here, except for like in underground comedy circles. And I remember asking him afterwards, I was like, what is that like? To go from, there are 11,000 people watching me, and I'm so famous that it doesn't matter what I say, I'm getting applause breaks and I'm murdering, to going to a punk club and standing up in front of 5, 6, 10 people and trying to make your jokes work.
What's the appeal, though, of getting the American audience?
Money, and why wouldn't you?
Because we're not going over. I mean, I guess will do international tours, but is it still like the whole go to America because it's still the biggest Hollywood or whatever? I mean, you're making all this money.
Going all the way back to the 50s or the Beatles time, all that was important. It was important. There was this was a land of not only opportunity, but big dollars. There's a lot more cities to play here than some country. A lot more people.
Just our population alone puts us way at the top. I mean, you conquer America, you've got more fans right there.
And they would work their way all the way across the country till they got to Los Angeles, where they really wanted to make it, because there were movie deals and TV deals and record deals and all that going on in L.A. So that's never changed.
I guess it's not a big enough industry, I guess, where he is. He's in movies. You said,
well, no, you can be Bollywood is huge now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's huge and enormous, and they're exporting their content all the time. I think Bollywood is growing. It started with mainly immigrant population, but I think that it has grown and it has fans that are even non-immigrant or non-Indian that like Bollywood. Right? You can get a bunch of Bollywood movies now on Amazon and Netflix.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I see him on Netflix.
I like the ones that are big epics with wars and battles, and their CGI is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a human being could never do that, but it's still fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A guy flying through the air to do a flying kick or whatever.
I think we should all stop and do a break number, dance number in the middle of anything.
Well, some of the big musicals, they're not all. Though.
Not all of them.
And there's comedies that are really good. I will say a lot of the comedies is usually the same thing. It's romance. It's a lot of When Harry Met Sally kind of stuff.
It's relatable to a lot of people.
It is.
Everyone has a romance.
But you can make bazillions of dollars and be a huge star in India with a gigantic population. I think just for some people, I mean, if you're an artist who wants to succeed, why wouldn't you want to conquer more and more and more and more? You know what I mean? I don't think for some artists out there, they want to just rest on their laurels. They're like, what is the next big challenge? Can I go win England? Can I go win Australia? Can I go win the Chinese market? Can I go win American market?
But I feel like Americans don't find that as important. I know
Americans
they do it.
don't, because Americans, we think we're the S.
But
That's why we don't care about
wasn't stand-up invented here?
I would say that.
So, I mean, that's where you want to conquer. You want to go to the source and conquer, right?
Yeah, I guess if it's
there's
soccer,
very few things that we invented, right? We invented
storytelling
jazz,
and entertainment was invented everywhere. But stand up the way we see it now is an American product, and I think that's part of it. But also, like, for the longest time, the biggest comic in the entire world, the guy that sold out the most, was named Russell Peters. He still is named Russell Peters, right?
Yeah.
But you could mention Russell Peters inside the American market where he had conquered, and nobody knew who the hell you were talking about.
Kills everywhere.
But he literally was sellout. I mean, he was making the most of any comic in the world. People didn't know his name here because he hadn't broken into the U.S. market. And I think for some people, they're like, let me go see how I can do over there. He's doing great so far. I mean, it's the first time he's come to Moot Tower, and he sold out instantly. Yeah. So he's doing great.
Can we get word to him that we meant no disrespect?
Yeah, I emailed her.
Okay, that it was a really bad connection. He couldn't hear us.
VIRDAS, Virdas, and you should go check out his stand-up. You can find it and you can stream it.
It's on Netflix.
I'm sure he's going to have big specials hitting here very soon, bigger and bigger stuff. Because, like I said, he's an actor too. He's a star, and he's got all that stuff. So I'm part of this. I'm saying because I want to make it as a bit of an apology because we've been trying to make the interview work. I really wanted to talk about it. Hopefully we'll get, hopefully we do a make-up interview with him at some point. Because this was going to be the smart section of the show today.
Yeah, right. We were going to win some kind of radio award.
We try to have one smart section a day because we have I know they don't want anybody to know, but we have a lot of KUT listeners who sneak over here once a day to
trying to get more.
Because they want to hear about a butt joke or a joke about a dong or a ball sack or something, right? Boobies.
Right.
And I wanted this to be the one smart segment for them.
Yeah. Fail. Major fail.
What is this? What does this mean?
Renegade.
Oh, yeah, renegadetruck.net. Thank you for sponsoring the video portion of our program always. We appreciate it. Renegadetruck.net.